Hey YouTube, welcome to the last set review, the Green Streets of New Capenna set review. We're going to jump right in with Attended Socialite. Attended Socialite is 1 and a green for a creature, elf, druid at common. It's a 2/1 with Alliance whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control. Attended Socialite gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Not a relevant creature type, just a 2/1 for 2. Grows a little bit. It's filler. You could probably wheel these. I bet there's probably better creatures. You can play this. Up next is Bootleggers Stash. Bootleggers Stash is 5 and a green for an artifact at Mythic. Lands you control have tap, create a treasure token. Okay. There's some decks that's going to love that. But 6 mana? 6 mana feels pretty high up there. I feel like if you want and can make use of this card, you'll get this card. I'm never, ever first picking this. I'm never picking this highly. I'm picking this once I have a reason to really want treasures and think that I'm going to just casually drop a 6-drop artifact that does nothing. Yeah, I'm going to wheel this, which means maybe I never see it, but I think that's correct. Up next is Bouncer's Beatdown. Bouncer's Beatdown is 2 and a green for an instant at uncommon. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a black permanent. Bouncer's Beatdown deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. If that creature or planeswalker would die this turn, exile it instead. X damage to target creature, planeswalker, where X is the great. So it's a bite spell. Worded in a very weird way. I guess it makes it so the Death Touch doesn't work. Kind of. Oh, that's weird. My chat has frozen in Streamlabs as well. So it's actually hard for me to see what you folks are seeing. Let me try refreshing chat. Ah, there we go. Now I can see all of the stuff that you have said since a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, it's an instant speed bite spell. It's fantastic. You're going to pick it pretty highly. Like, I will second, third pick this card. I think it's great. They also can't remove in response. Good point. Up next is Broken Wings, 2 and a green for an instant at common. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. This is sideboard only. You wheel this, you put it in your sideboard, you see a scary artifact, enchantment, or flyer, and you put this in and it's great. Up next is Cabaret Initiate. Cabaret Initiate is a single green mana for a creature Raccoon Citizen at common. It's a 1/2, pay 2 and a Boros, gains double strike until end of turn. Yet another, you have to do stuff to this to make it good. Otherwise, it's extraordinarily filler citizen. So I'm going to wheel this, and I'm probably not going to put it in my deck. And I'll probably die to it because somebody put 17 auras on it and I can't find removal or bounce. And then I die. But yeah, I'm going to wheel that. Up next is Chaldea Strongarm. Chaldea Strongarm is 4 and a green for a creature human warrior at common. It's a 2/3. When Chaldea Strongarm enters the battlefield, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature, perhaps itself. Blitz, 3 and a green. So 5 mana, 2/3, put 2 counters. Is not good. 5 mana 4/5 is not great. I think I always want to blitz this. So blitz 2/3 for 4, also not amazing, but throw those 2 counters on something else, draw a card, and that all seems okay. I think this is pretty filler. Again, I think we're looking at the wheel, 8th pick maybe. It's just not that exciting. Up next is Capenna Express. Capenna Express is 3 and a green for an artifact vehicle at common. It's a 6/6, sack a treasure. It becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Crew 3. Crew 3 sucks. I don't care that it's a 6/6. I'm never crewing it. But sack a treasure to crew it? Sack a treasure to crew it if I'm making a lot of treasures? Blitz is not flash, correct. You still have to cast. It's literally just casting. So you just have to cast the spell as you normally would. This is not Renegade Freighter because it doesn't have trample or it's not crew 1. But crewing with the treasure is pretty cute. You have to sack the treasure, which means you need continual treasure production. But this is nowhere near Renegade Freighter. Not even remotely close. Yeah, this seems okay as long as you're definitely reliably, continually creating treasures. If you're tapping 3 power worth of stuff to turn this on, that doesn't feel good enough for me. So I'm putting this like 6th through 8th pick if you know you're making treasures already. Knock it up a little bit if you are heavily into the treasure deck. But be careful, this is, yes, it's a train, yes, it's common, it is not Renegade Freighter. Up next is Civic Gardener. Civic Gardener is 1 and a green for a creature human citizen at common. It's a 2/2 whenever Civic Gardener attacks, untap target creature or land. So it could have vigilance, kind of. Something else could have pseudo-vigilance. It could ramp you once, probably. This is playable, but I think it's a wheel. I think it's pretty heavy filler. Up next is Cleanup Crew. Cleanup Crew is 4 green for a creature human citizen at uncommon. It's a 6/6 when Cleanup Crew enters the battlefield. Choose one. Destroy target artifact. Meh. Destroy target enchantment. Meh. Exile target card from a graveyard. Meh. You gain 4 life. So it's Honey Mammoth. It's Honey Mammoth with like some very narrow, unlikely to be overly often used other modes. So Honey Mammoth wasn't good. Ravenous Lindworm was very good. They were the same card in 2 different formats. It's uncommon, which is a little wild. I think you can main deck this. I think you should. Well, we'll see. We'll see what the format's like. If it's way too fast, then no, you can't main deck this, and you probably shouldn't play it. If it's slow enough, I think you can happily main deck this. So I'm going to go like 6th through 8th pick, hoping that we're in a Ravenous Lindworm set and not in a Honey Mammoth set, and we'll see how it goes. Up next is Courier's Briefcase. Courier's Briefcase is 1 and a green for an artifact treasure at uncommon. When Courier's Briefcase enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Tap, sack it, add 1 mana of any color. Pay white, blue, black, red, green, tap, sack it, draw 3 cards. It's a pretty steep cost for drawing 3 cards because yes, you might have treasures, but you probably have other things you want to do with those treasures. It's still okay. And it makes a citizen, so all of this is fine. So 2 mana citizen. 2 mana citizen that makes a treasure. That's not great, but we're in like the 8th pick range. I'm not over the moon about this card, but I'll play it. And it'll do what some of the decks want to do in green: treasures, citizens, etc. And you know, if the best thing for you to do is to pay the Wooburg and draw 3 cards, cool. I just don't think that that's something that I'm not jamming into that plan. Up next is Elegant Entourage. Elegant Entourage is 3 and a green for a creature elf druid at uncommon. It's a 4/4 with Alliance whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control. Target creature other than Elegant Entourage gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Okay. 4/4 for 4. Does have to have another creature that can attack, preferably, to get that +1/+1 and trample, but that can be pretty big. This is a good card. I think it's in the 5th-ish pick range. You know, it's not a bomb, it's not removal, it's not crazy, but it's good. It's very well statted for what it does. So let's go 5th pick for Elegant Entourage. Not a citizen? Not a citizen. There's so much like, there's so many elves and there's so many rogues and there's a bunch of wizards with no payoff, which is weird. Up next is Evolving Door. Evolving Door is 2 and a green for an artifact at rare. Pay 1, tap, sack a creature. Count the colors of the sacrificed creature. Then search your library for a creature card that's exactly that many colors +1. Exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast the exiled card. Activate only as a sorcery. This is an F. This is absolutely terrible. Birthing Pod and all the Birthing Pod alikes put the creature on the battlefield. This gives you the privilege of casting it. Absolute F. Never play this card. Up next is Fight Rigging. Fight Rigging is 2 and a green for an enchantment at rare, Hideaway 5. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. It's the Grove thingy from Citadel Siege, the set. It's very good. 3 mana, a counter every turn. As soon as something gets 7, you get a free card that was in the top 5. Card's great. First pick it. Up next is For the Family. For the Family is a single green mana for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If you control 4 or more creatures, that creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn instead. So not quite a giant growth, and then more than a giant growth. Totally okay combat trick. Wheel it. If you've got a spot, cool. If you don't, also cool. Up next is Freelance Muscle. Freelance Muscle is 4 and a green for a creature Rhino Warrior at uncommon. It's a 4/4. When Freelance Muscle attacks or blocks, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power and or toughness among other creatures you control. 4/4 for 5. A little bit overcosted. But then greatest power and or toughness. So if you have an 0/5, this gets +5/+5. It's pretty cool. So like worst case scenario, this is a 5/5 for no. Worst case scenario, this is a 4/4 for 5 because it's the only creature on your board. Worst case scenario with any other creature on the board, this is a 5/5 for 5. This is good. This is very good. This is a 5-drop that I want. Like 4th, 5th pick range, I would say. 4th, 5th pick. I think it's very, very, very good. Get an 0/13 down, so you attack with a 17/17. Up next is Gala Greeters. Gala Greeters is 1 and a green for a creature Elf Druid at rare. It's a 1/1 with Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen this turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on Gala Greeters. Create a tapped treasure token. You gain 2 life. That's probably the order in which you're doing this. And this is just good. Like, first counter on this, and it's fantastic. Any more counters is amazing. Ramp is great. You would prefer to not top deck this unless you've got like some token generation going on or something. But yeah, I would happily first pick this. It's not a bomb, but it's a first pick. Up next is Glittermonger. Glittermonger is 3 and a green for a creature Elf Rogue at common. It's a 1/4. Tap, make a treasure token. Tap, make a treasure token? Every turn. Treasure token. Still, it's just a 1/4 for 4. You are paying a cost to play this, but this is going to make the treasure token decks work. This is going to make fixing fantastic. If you are one of those absolutely horrible people who like 5-color decks, this is probably a big part of it. This person loves riding the train. Yeah. This is like a 6th through 8th pick, and it's going to make some decks work. Up next is High Rise Sawjack. High Rise Sawjack is 2 and a green for a creature Elf Citizen at common. It's a 2/3 with Reach. Whenever High Rise Sawjack blocks a creature with flying, High Rise Sawjack gets +2/+0 until end of turn. We've seen variations on this before, usually a spider. This is a person who is up in the sky. Yeah, it's playable. You're not looking to really play it unless you want citizens, but then out of the sideboard, it becomes very good. So 6th through 8th pick, probably looking to play it as a citizen. If you don't care about citizens, throw it in the sideboard, bring it in when you see some flyers. Up next is Jewel Thief. Jewel Thief is 2 and a green for a creature Cat Rogue at common. It's a 3/3 Vigilance Trample, and when it ETBs, you make a treasure token. Back in my day, 2 and a green got us a creature Centaur, let's say Warrior at common. It was a 3/3 with a lot of lovely flavor text on it. This has 3 abilities on it for the same cost and the same stats. It's real good. It's real good for a common. We're not spending a super real pick on this. We're not taking this first. We're not taking this second. We're not taking this third. We're not taking this fourth. We're not taking this fifth. We'll take it sixth. Some packs maybe we'll take. But you're playing it, and you're playing every single copy that exists. It's good. It's very, very good. R.I.P. Centaur Courser. We miss you greatly. Yeah, I'm going to like sixth pick this, maybe fifth in some bad packs. It's very, very good. Don't overrate it just because of the hype that's going on about it. It is still just a 3/3 for 3 with a couple of keywords and a treasure. Like, this is just what 2022 Magic looks like. Up next is Luxurious Libation. Luxurious Libation is X and a green for an instant at uncommon. Target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn. Create a 1/1 green and white creature, citizen creature token. Instant speed. Instant speed, choose my own growth. Okay, it's still a combat trick. It's still just a combat trick. It's an instant speed 1/1 for 1 as well, if you really want it. But I think you can, you know, late 7th, 8th pick this, maybe even wheel. It's just a combat trick. It's a combat trick and a 1/1, neither of which is amazing. So I'm not going out of my way to pick this. But unlike most combat tricks, I think you always play it. Like, I don't think you're putting this in if you happen to have a spot. I think you're always playing it. So maybe we bump this up. Maybe we go like 6th through 8th pick for it. Up next is Most Wanted. Most Wanted is 2 and a green for an enchantment aura at common. It's got Flash, enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+1. When enchanted creature dies, create 2 treasure tokens. Again, basically a combat trick, except it's a combat trick that might stick around if the creature happens to live through whatever's happening to it at the moment. And when it dies, you get 2 treasure tokens, so you get a little bit of a rebate back. But still, I think you can wheel this, and I think you can try to find a spot for it if you happen to, but I don't think you go out of your way. Up next is Prize Fight. Prize Fight is 1 and a green for an instant common. Target creature you control fights. Target creature you don't control, create a treasure token. Instant speed is good for a fight spell. No pumping is not great for a fight spell. You'll play this because this is what we have at common, but this is a little bit of a lower pick. We're down into the 6th through 8th pick range. Unfortunately, things have to go right for a straight up fight spell to be good these days without any sort of pumping. The treasure token is a nice bit of a boost, though. So let's go 6th through 8th pick for Prize Fight. Up next is Rhox Pummeler. Rhox Pummeler is 5 and a green for a creature Rhino Soldier at common. It's a 6/3. Rhox Pummeler enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. Rhox Pummeler has trample as long as it has a shield counter on it. 6 mana. So, I mean, it's a 6/3 that's going to trample through probably for a bunch once. And then it's a 6/3 that's probably going to drastically trade down. I don't think I can justify 6 mana for this. It's going to be stupid when somebody attacks you with this as a 6/3 trample, gets through for some trample, and then they attack you, and they do that 1 white mana, oops, it's got a shield counter again trick. But yeah, I'm going to wheel this. I can't imagine I super easily find a place for it. Up next is Riveter's Decoy. Riveter's Decoy is 1 and a green for a creature human warrior at uncommon. It's a 3/1. Riveter's Decoy must be blocked if able. Blitz for 3 and a green. Note that this is not lure. It does not have to be blocked by everything if able. It simply has to be blocked by something if able. 3/1 for 2. I like 3/1s for 2. You know that. 3/1 for 2 that I can force trade is kind of cool if, you know, they don't just have a 1/4 or something. Blitz. There will be situations where I want to blitz this, probably when I draw it a little bit later. All in all, it's a fine card, but I think we're in the 6th-ish range, 6, 7, 8. I don't think I'm using a overly high pick. Up next is Social Climber. Social Climber is 2 and a green for a creature human druid at common. It's a 3/2 with Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Okay. 3/2 for 3. normal, fine stats. Gaining 1 life from a creature entering? Okay. It's not amazing. May not even be great. I think you can probably wheel these. 8th pick them. I don't think anybody wants this card, but you'll play it if you have it. Up next is Take to the Streets. Take to the Streets is 4 and a green for a sorcery at uncommon. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Citizens you control get an additional +1/+1 and gain vigilance until end of turn. 5 mana, eh? Oof. 5 mana. I mean, if you're going wide, you want one of these. You absolutely want one of these if you're going wide. If you're not going wide, you absolutely don't want one of these. There is one deck that wants this, and I would be shocked if you can't wheel it. If you can't wheel it, somebody's cutting you. Wheel this card, and it goes in one deck. Up next is Titan of Industry. Titan of Industry is 4 green for a creature elemental at Mythic. It's a 7/7 reach trample. When Titan of Industry enters the battlefield, choose 2. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Unlikely. Target player gains 5 life. Sure. Me. Create a 4/4 green Rhino Warrior creature token. Sure. Put a shield counter on a creature you control, such as Titan of Industry. This card's great. Again, well, hang on. Again with the caveat that, can we cast 7 drops in this format? If we can, cool. Also, this is a 3-color format, and this costs green. Luckily, I think green should be able to handle that with all the treasures. But green's a cost. You got to make sure you can cast it, and you got to make sure you can cast a 7-drop. If you could do those 2 things, this card's super good and a first pick. Like, I'm never not first picking this. I'm never not getting into a treasure deck. I'm never not making sure that I can't cast this. Again, so long as the format is a format where you can play 7 drops. So let's go with the first pick, and let's hope that the format is not a turn 5 red stuff format. Up next is Topiary Stomper. Topiary Stomper is 1 green for a creature plant dinosaur at rare. It's a 4/4 with vigilance. When Topiary Stomper enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Topiary Stomper can't attack or block until you control 7 or more lands. Attack or block? So this is fixing ramp for 3 mana. You'll be at 4 at least, and then it'll be a few more turns before you can do something with it. This is okay. It's not a first pick. You definitely take removal over this. There may be really good uncommons you take over this. You could still use it for a fight or a bite. But this is in, like, I'm going to go 3rd, 4th pick range. It reminds me of Wayward Swordtooth or whatever it was. Which was, again, fine, but not a card that you were like, ooh, I opened the rare that I wanted. So let's go 3rd, 4th pick for Topiary Stomper. Up next is Venom Connoisseur. Venom Connoisseur is 1 and a green for a creature human druid at uncommon. It's a 2/2 with Alliance whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control. Venom Connoisseur gains Death Touch until end of turn. If this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn, all creatures you control gain Death Touch until end of turn. Okay. So 2 mana 2/2, sure. And it's going to have Death Touch some number of turns. And then maybe we can get everything to have Death Touch. I mean, all of that's cool. Having your team just have Death Touch is not, it's not incredible. I'd probably trade that for Trample, I think. Unless I have like such a ludicrously large board that my opponent just has to block everything. Because in a lot of situations, your opponent will just go, okay, well, that sucks, but, you know, I'll take the 7 damage, the 8 damage from all your stuff. And now they don't have Death Touch anymore. But this is still good. But where do I pick it? It is just a 2/2 for 2. It is just a 2/2 for 2. I think I'm in like 6th range. 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th, sort of around there. I don't think it's incredible. But I think you spend like one of your last real important picks on it each pack. So let's go with that. Up next is Vivien on the Hunt. How many more do we have? Not many. But hey, surprise Planeswalker. Vivien on the Hunt is 4 green for a legendary Planeswalker Vivien at Mythic. She starts with 4 loyalty, +2. You may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1, plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield. She knows how to Birthing Pod. Then shuffle. +1, mill 5 cards, then put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand. -1, make a 4/4. So 6 mana, but only 4 loyalty. +2 sack a creature and Birthing Pod. Seems good, but you got to know your deck, which is obviously easier online. The +1 seems decent. You should mill some number of creatures in your average limited deck. And you could also just be like 4/4, 4/4, 4/4, 4/4. Yeah, this is the first pick. It's a good Planeswalker. I think Elspeth and Ob Nixilis are a step above, but I think she's still very good. First pick. Up next is Voice of the Vermin. Voice of the Vermin is 3 and a green for a creature human citizen. At uncommon, Voice of the Vermin enters the battlefield with a shield counter on it. It's a 2/2. When Voice of the Vermin attacks, target creature you control has base power and toughness 4/4 until end of turn. Perhaps itself. So 4 mana 2/2 shield, but it's actually a 4 mana 4/4 shield. Cool. And interestingly, this one does have to attack if we want to make our citizen be a 4/4. Yeah, this is all good. I don't think it's one of those uncommons where I'm like, yeah, we got this. But I think it's a card that I'm 100% of the time playing. And so I think it's in like the 5th range, 5th, 6th. Because, yeah, it has to attack. So the only way we're upgrading one of our other creatures is by having this remain a 2/2 that we paid 4 for. But, yeah, I think I can go 5th, 6th pick for Voice of the Vermin. Up next is Warm Welcome. Warm Welcome is 2 and a green for an instant at common. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library. In a random order, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. 3 mana, instant speed, 1/1. And we get the, whatever you want to call that green effect. This is all okay. I think I probably want to be playing citizens or like something that wants tokens, something that wants instant speed creatures to want to play this. But once I'm in there, I think I'll happily play this. I don't think I would play it just to be like, I happen to get a 1/1 and Adventurous Impulse. I bet you can probably pretty close to wheel these if you want to get them. I don't think you're playing a bunch of them. First one's probably fine. Up next is Workshop Warchief, our final card. Workshop Warchief is 3 green for a creature Rhino Warrior at rare. It's a 5/3 with trample. When it ETBs, you gain 3 life. When it dies, you make a 4/4 Rhino Warrior creature token, and you can blitz it for 4 green. Cool. So 5 mana 5/3. Typically wouldn't want to play that, but it's got trample. Typically wouldn't want to play that. It gains me 3 life. It's fine. It makes a 4/4 when it dies. Awesome. Sold. Plus, if we're in a really good situation where we happen to have the 6 mana, we've got a really good attack, we can just blitz it out. And on top of all of that, draw a card. Cool. First pick. Very, very, very good Rhino. Well, YouTube, that's going to wrap it up for the whole Streets of New Capenna set review. Odds are these videos will not all be out by the time all the pre-releases are over, so hopefully your pre-releases went well. And of course, next week, I'm going to get my chance to play once it comes to Arena. So stay tuned for that. I'll have my first draft video up. I'll be streaming it, of course. The following week, I suppose, we'll have Spiky Saturday back with New Capenna. So let me know anything you want to know. Let me know about New Capenna. And otherwise, I'll see y'all next time.